Good evening, everybody, and welcome to today's information session titled Prepare for the Future of Digital Marketing. We're just going to give a couple of our potential audiences just a bit more time to settle in and hopefully get this session started. Thank you. I think that should be sufficient time. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for coming along to a much anticipated information session titled Prepare for the Future of Digital Marketing, a very interesting topic. And we've got an exciting set of slides to share with you today. Really hope that you find this session quite useful. And hopefully, we'll be happy to answer a few questions later on along the lines. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, on whose ancestral lands our city campus now stands. I pay respects to both past and present, acknowledging them as the traditional custodians of knowledge for this land and as people of great ingenuity and innovation. In this webinar, we'll be sitting down with our digital marketing academic team to talk about trends shaping the future of digital marketing, the skills employers are demanding, and how postgraduate studies can help you succeed in a digital marketing career. Let's first take a look at your webinar controls. You'll find on the bottom of your screen a few options that will be made available to you, our dear audience, and you feel free to slip in any questions using the Q&A function on the screen below, and we'll get to your questions at the end of this session, where our academic team can answer any of your queries in turn. Before we dive into specific topics in relation to this session, I'd like to introduce you to the online community here at UTS. UTS is Australia's #1 young university. We are a university for all, and with our flexible online programs, we are redefining the online education environment. We passionately believe that we want to give students or professionals the opportunity to upskill and earn a degree without sacrificing their jobs, other commitments, and giving you the opportunities to balance commitments such as your family commitments and your work commitments while studying. A common perception of online studies is a series of uploaded lecture recordings and PDFs forms. But here at UTS Online, we have designed our courses from the ground up, specifically to be studied online and complementary to the working professional. We'll share a link to a video that goes through our learning design process in the chat for you to view at your own leisure. It should give you a great insight to UTS Online. Now, before we meet our much anticipated academic team, I'd like to introduce you to the Master of Digital Marketing here at UTS. The UTS Master of Digital Marketing is a course that's well ahead of its time. It's truly contemporary and flexible, really designed to give professionals the opportunity to stay ahead of some of the challenges that are taking place within the digital marketing world. It has been developed in partnership with leading industry professionals that explore continuity and uniquely human skills needed to develop strategy in the ever-evolving future we live in. The course is designed for data-driven and strategic marketing professionals who want to excel at digital skills of today and prepare for a future of change. Whether you're in the early stages of your marketing career or you're an experienced marketer wanting to upskill with all the relevant tools and strategies used in today's digital marketing world, this course has got all bases covered. There is also a graduate certificate in marketing and digital strategy for professionals who do not have a marketing background, but wish to make the transition into marketing. This pathway will ensure you develop the foundational knowledge and understanding of digital marketing concepts to drive within digital marketing strategies. It is a program that's delivered 100% online and completely self-paced. Again, as I mentioned previously, allowing students to continue working full-time while studying. Students focus on one subject at a time in every 7-week blocks, allowing them to manage their work and lifestyle commitments while gaining skills to advance their careers. We're now going to hear more from the course director and the academics about the role of a digital marketer, the skills in demand, and how the Master of Digital Marketing can prepare you for a successful career in marketing. Before we get into the topics and questions, let's meet our wonderful academic team. You will see on the profile that's just about to come up, the director of the course, Dr. Kaye Chan. Dr. Kaye Chan is a academic, both an academic researcher, a passionate educator, an experienced marketing practitioner with over a decade in the industry. She's focused on work-ready skills so that her students can succeed in their careers. Her research is focused on digitally enabled marketing and the impact on behavior, media, and advertising. She has also published articles in the journals of strategic marketing and has presented at major conferences, including EMAC and ISMS Marketing Science. Kaye, thank you for joining us today. I'm really excited to have you on board. You led the development of this course. Can you give us a bit of an insight into what students can learn from the Masters of Digital Marketing with UTS?
Yeah, thanks, Izzard, and welcome everyone. It's great to be with you here tonight. This course was really designed to build data-driven strategic marketers and take potentially marketers or people wanting to move into marketing or upskill themselves with digital skills in the current era. So we've built a course around this really practical, strategic, focused outcome. And really looking at, I think the ability to succeed is about being adaptive and agile. So being able to respond and prepare, analyze, and decide whether something's just popular or relevant for your brand, product, service, etc. And this is really built around this evolving, changing landscape that we're marketing in today. We refresh the content regularly based on industry trends, which, as you know, are changing. We use current insights, current academic literature, and apply it to real world scenarios. So it's practically relevant. And as I just said, that's something that I'm really passionate and focused on in my education and research. We look at analytics and technology, innovation and creativity, building digital strategy. So making those really important decisions and evaluations and looking at those insights and realizing what can you do to achieve your company's objectives. And really focused around the customer, because we know in today's environment, being customer focused, customer centric is pivotal to success. We need to understand and know and ask questions about our customers to be able to make the decisions using the tools we've got available and to achieve the strategic outcomes. So we're really looking at that whole package and it being timely, relevant, and applicable to people who are working today or working tomorrow.
Fantastic, Kaye. Thanks for sharing a bit more of your insights towards the course. speaking to a lot of students myself on an everyday basis, we have received some wonderful feedback from students around the practicality of the course, I guess. And students have been able, for example, to apply, what they've learned in an assessment or bring in real life experiences and challenges into the course or in their new role. How has this course been designed to prepare students to succeed in this workforce, Kaye?
Yeah, it's all about that relevant knowledge and skills for today's environment. So it's about having that knowledge, having those skills and applying them and using them to the context that you may be working in today or wanting to work in tomorrow. And the experts really come in and facilitate these subjects and not only lead and guide, but give amazing feedback to your potentially context that you're coming from, because everyone's coming from a different background, a different industry, and there's relevance for some things and not for other things. And we have this amazing teaching team that come in and help that happen. You get to collaborate with your peers and receive feedback from peers, which has really been a fantastic piece of feedback we've received, how powerful and important that is. And really, people may already be in the industry, and these graduates and these people already working can give feedback, advice and support. I've been at Advertising Week this week in Sydney, and I met up with a current student today who has totally changed careers, is working for Tourism Tasmania, and has taken his knowledge and skills to really build their new customer experience and their customer data platform. And I said to him today, what did you bring in and what did you take from the course in your new role? And he said, I basically took the whole package and applied it. And as I said, he's still a student. And he said, and I'm still applying the stuff I'm learning today, and I'll probably learn in the next 2 weeks before I finish my course. So it is really about being practical and applied to your context or the context that you would like to be working in.
That's a fantastic insight, Dr. Kaye. And one of the reasons I'm part of a phase, I feel the same way. Undertaking a marketing subject. I think the activities in particular at the end of each topic really gives every student the opportunity to have a bit of an insight into other students, collaborate and effectively take away what you learn. So it's fantastic to hear your opinions there. Before we meet our next academic, open the discussion around what digital marketing looks like today and in the future, I'd like to set the scene by unpacking what is the role of a digital marketer. Kaye, as a academic, it would be great to hear your thoughts here. What is the role of a digital marketer? What are their core responsibilities in an ever-changing world, and what skills are needed to perform this role, given the challenges we face today?
Yeah, look, the role of a digital marketer comes in so many different shapes and forms, because it depends whether you're working on client side, agency side, partner side, and what specific digital tools, resources are relevant for your brand, product, service offering, etc. But really, it's key to marketing today. We know the world is digital, and we need to work seamlessly between all the digital components and where the customer's journey is going through. We talked about that customer-centric thing before, and it's about using those skills and that knowledge to connect with current customers, potential customers, future customers across this myriad of different digital tools and platforms we've got available to us, managing them, integrating them, and depending on the size of your brand, your product, it may be one specific one, or it may be a multitude of ones that you're working on to achieve what's relevant for your brand and your product and your outcomes that your business is looking at. Today's digital marketers need to be able to analyze, evaluate, work out whether it's working or not, and how to optimize the performance of it as well. Sorry, Azad.
That's fine, Kaye. Thank you very much. My apologies. I was trying to get a little slow there. It's fascinating that our world has obviously become so digitally driven. In saying that, Kaye, can you shed some light on what difference between a digital marketing postgraduate degree would be compared to, say, a general marketing postgraduate degree?
Yeah, is that I teach at UTS on the Master of Marketing as well. So that is our on-campus offering. What's really different is the range of subjects we have in our on-campus course are a lot more broad, because we're looking at the broader marketing skills. So we'll look at pricing, a little bit more about channel management, etc. And then we cover off marketing communications and digital marketing, and the normal marketing information. The Master of Digital Marketing is really focused at taking people with those base skills in marketing and saying, well, what is new and relevant and timely to the world we work in? So in one of Valeria, who's on the panel tonight's subject, she looks at all the different consumer behaviours and behavioural things we can do digitally. And, many people may have heard of nudges and all that sort of things. So her subject really looks at that. So it's really about taking marketing and what we know about marketing, but looking at it through this digital lens.
Fascinating, Kaye. Thank you very much. I talk to students all across the country every day, and a potential question that I always get is how will studying a digital marketing postgraduate course benefit a student, say, over a short course within a professional context, Kaye?
Yeah, I'll probably speak to answer this from the perspective of the students that are currently nearing the end of their degree at the moment, and my interactions with them more recently as they're heading towards the end. And really, it's using the skills every day in their roles. We've had a lot of students move roles to dream roles, goal roles, using the knowledge. So it really depends what background you bring. Are you looking to be a career changer? Are you upskilling? What sort of things are you bringing into it? And are you moving into a more senior position? Are you looking to move into a digital marketing or a marketing role itself? Students are continually taking their skills, using them, changing in their current roles, and or a few students changing roles and looking, going into dream roles or dream organizations or different roles within their organization. Some students are just looking at how to manage teams who have digitally focused roles and have the skills so that they can do that as well. So really about being current today and using those skills depending on where you're coming from and where you want to go.
Fantastic, Kaye. Thank you very much for giving us an insight there to what the academic landscape would look like. Now we're excited to obviously have here with Kaye tonight academics and industry experts who also share their insights into the course. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce two of our panelists today. I'll start with Dr. David Waller. Dr. David Waller is an associate professor and head of the marketing discipline group. David has worked in the banking and film industries and has over 30 years of teaching experience. His research has included projects on marketing communications, advertising agency client relationships, controversial advertising, international advertising, marketing ethics, and marketing education. Welcome, David. I will also introduce Dr. Valeria Noguti. Dr. Valeria is a lecturer in marketing, as Kaye just mentioned a short time ago. She is an expert in consumer behavior and communications. She has a wide range of experience in various industries such as plastics, banking, publishing, and hardware and software. Her research focuses on social media, consumer behavior, and entrepreneurship, using a wide range of methodologies, including quantitative and qualitative, and most recently specializing in automated text analysis. Welcome, Valeria. David, I'll start with you. Would you be able to shed some light into what the digital marketing landscape looks like, in your opinion?
I suppose everything's been changing. Looking at what the digital landscape was like, with looking at platforms, looking at how people would communicate in business, it's just changed over and over again, even in the last few years. I've been working on my MySpace page, and you notice that that's even changed. How people perceive different platforms have changed. How people communicate to their customers. How people keep a watch on their competitors. All those things are extremely important. And so being aware of what's actually happening in a changing world environment, and particularly since COVID and lockdowns, the area of digital marketing has just become even more important.
Absolutely, that's really interesting to obviously hear your thoughts there. I did hear an announcement on the radio the other day, people talking about MySpace. So I find it really interesting hearing your thoughts there. And Dr. Valeria, I'm eager to hear a bit more from your end, especially with your focus on consumer behavior. What is your opinion on the digital landscape in particular, and what the future entails?
Yeah, I think it is pretty clear how, especially with COVID, how things are really, really fast changing. Even before COVID, things were changing a lot already. And now we see a lot of new businesses, new opportunities for consumers. And also there is just so much that people just grab everything that they can, and then they get bored and they want more innovation. So there is, like this desire for innovation and for change. So it is very challenging for marketers to keep the pace with what consumers now expect. So I think that's an interesting point as well, that even though it is really already really fast, from the consumer side, it looks like that they even want more change. So it is always getting bored and wanting something different. So I think that makes, like our field very dynamic, and therefore very important for us to keep the pace with the digital marketing world.
Absolutely, Dr. Ver. That's fascinating that you say so. Obviously, following the events from even last year, for example, the rate of change with digital marketing is tremendous, and it's really nice to hear your thoughts, especially there from consumer expectations, I guess, as well. Speaking of obviously hearing a bit more about your thoughts, I'd also like to take an opportunity now to look at the industry in large. The Media Federation of Australia census has revealed the population of people working in this industry has increased by 19% year on year, which means that there is more people than ever being employed in this field. Yet there is a job vacancy rate of 12%, which has more than doubled since last year. We'd love to hear from the experts, and I'll throw it over to you, Kaye, first. What do you think are the main drivers for the increase in demand for digital marketers in particular?
Yeah, it's there's a myriad of factors. As Valeria just mentioned, COVID showed us that there's so many more things that are happening and how to do them. So from a top line point of view, we've got a fragmentation of media. We've got more channels than ever before. It wasn't that many years ago we just had 7, 9, 10 ABC TV, and today we have AVOD, BVOD, SVOD. We've got more channels and more mechanisms of watching and viewing than ever before. And if you think about managing and resourcing and making media planning or creative decisions and or resourcing all of those, you see this proliferation of roles that come from that. So you're looking at it, both from a client side, from companies that are marketing, from the agency side, and from the partner side. So you look at even just the growth in roles at Meta, Google, and some of those big partners. There's been a phenomenal growth. And so you look at that across the landscape and we see it more than ever. Built on top of that, we know that growth comes from quality marketing and getting the right message in the right place at the right time into our audience. And so you add into that the context that we have more personalized journeys and that we have to connect with people in so many different ways and understand that.
Fascinating. You did mention Meta World Advertising there. I did read a very interesting article of how the future is shaping up, and we'll get to that in a minute. Dr. David, I'd love to throw it over to you. Well, what are your thoughts here?
One of the things I was thinking is that we're looking at sort of like the positions that are sort of the digital based positions, but even when we're looking for other positions in an organization, having those digital skills are extremely important, and being able to upskill. If you're for example, I've got a managerial position, because of what's been happening in the digital environment, it's really important that you can know what's happening, what's there, and being able to upskill doing this type of course can be really beneficial from being on top of your current management skills.
Absolutely, well said. Makes a lot of sense. Obviously, the use of data, especially within the e-commerce space in specific, and it makes a lot of sense in where you're coming from. Which leads me really nicely to the in-house expert, Dr. Valeria, focusing on digital consumer behavior in particular. What are your thoughts in that regard?
Yeah. So as Kaye just said, there is this fragmentation of media, and that makes the consumer journey much more complex. There are many different points where you see information, and sometimes, you know, the consumer might get confused, and the consumer needs information that is consistent, it's coherent, it is not conflicting with each other, and that's not easy to do if you are not, you know, like on top of your game as a marketer. So customer experience is really, really important, especially these days. It's getting ever more important as you get lots of different people in organizations having contacts with customers from different points of view. So that is really important. So the digital world just has increased this amount of contact points or the touch points, and is making that complex. So with consumers having to navigate all of that and getting all the information from advertising and having that complexity of being able to also control some of that with ad blockers and other tools, you know, it gets harder for the marketers to get competitive. So it is really important to get really good people with good digital skills to be able to navigate that.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Dr. Valeria. And I think it leads me on to my next question quite nicely. So with this vacancy rate that has been highlighted, the MFA highlights that the pressing challenge for the industry is the lack of talent to fill positions, compounded by the global talent shortage within strategic digital marketing skill sets. What do you think the industry needs to focus on, and where would they ideally start? I'll throw this to you, Kaye.
Yeah, I mean, the industry today has an amazing focus on recruitment and retention. So it's a fantastic industry at this time. With this growth in positions, they are looking to recruit and train and give you the specific skills for your role. So they're looking for those broad-based skills, and then obviously going in and willing to give the finer skills depending on what sort of role you're in. And they're also looking at, you know, retention. So it's also about going into an industry that's really focused on the person and the people and the culture. And we're seeing this really focused change in the culture as people want different things from organizations. And we're seeing that cultural change happening across the different industries, like the client side, the agency side, or the partner side. We're seeing that real focus come through. So it's a really exciting time, and the industry is really looking at alternative talent and talent that's coming from different perspectives.
Fascinating, Dr. Kaye. Thank you very much. And can I ask either David or Valeria to have your thoughts as well?
Yeah, I think that adding to what Kaye just said, I think diversity is something that is key, and not only in terms of cultural backgrounds, but also into skill set. So when we say ad tech, it's not just tech people that we need. So I think there is a whole range of different types of people. So you need the creatives, you need, you know, obviously the tech people and strategy people, but all talking to each other to be able to navigate this digital world well, I think.
And also, I was thinking, as for managers, there is this skill shortage. They are looking around trying to recruit, But if they're able to find the right people within their organisation who are developing these skills, who are showing that they've got the knowledge in the digital area, can show that they've got analytical skills that are sort of beyond their position at the moment, then that's a great way to promote somebody from within rather than looking out. And being, again, upskilling within an organisation, it can be extremely valuable, not only to the staff member who wants to stay with the organisation, but for the managers who want to keep, develop and grow and have a definite career path for their staff.
That's a fascinating point, David, and it makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Upskilling within current organizations, having that connection with brand identity as well. And one of the questions that a lot of students ask me every day, obviously, as much as there is opportunity out there in the market, they're also quite aware of the competition that exists in the market as well. So my next question, I guess, would be, what are the most highly sought after skills for digital marketing roles? And why do you think this is the case? And more importantly, how does the Master of Digital Marketing really equip students with those specific skill sets and help them differentiate themselves from the competition? And I'll start with you, Kaye.
Yeah, well, you've got the on the slide here, the skills that the employees are looking at. Very much within the courses and the subjects, there's a lot of, critical thinking, looking at data and not just reporting data, but generating actionable insights that can inform strategy to achieve organizational outcomes. So, and to do that, you need to be able to decide on what metrics to use and to measure. So that monitoring and that evaluation, communicating, so both written and verbal, is very has a very heavy focus in what we do and how we do it. And you'll see we would have assessments that are both written, very short form, very C-suite level 1-pagers, all the way through to a pitch presentation internally trying to seek funding for a new initiative. So employers are looking for adaptable people that can move and acquire and are agile. And they're looking at those core skills, and obviously there's the knowledge skills, but with that, within the course, you're also getting those more flexible skills as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kaye. That was a very interesting insight from yourself. And again, over to you, Valeria and David. What are your thoughts here?
I think one thing that the course actually provides the students is a good understanding of the digital marketing ecosystem. Which again, it is quite complex. There are several stakeholders involved, and there are stakeholders coming in and out every day. So it changes a lot. So I think that the course gives the students the opportunity to learn and reflect upon the agents and their roles in that system and how that actually shapes consumer experience. So I think that is a really important piece of knowledge to have, and to know how to understand that for the future as well, because it keeps changing.
Thank you very much, Valeria. David, over to you.
And with subjects, I actually teach a subject which is sort of like more of an introductory subject, particularly for people who haven't got a marketing background. The subjects have got assessments that the students have to undertake. So there's a discipline to make sure that they go through each module, look at the assessment, look at the tasks. So there's a discipline in doing the subject, but as part of that, they have to use critical thinking, not looking at sort of what's the obvious answer, but also looking at what else does this mean and where else can I look for information, or what sort of analysis or understanding that I have, but also to communicate it. with the assessment, but also communicating in the tasks. And one thing that I really like about the course, and I've been involved years ago with other types of external sort of courses, but that the way that it's set up, that the students can see each other's responses and can also comment. And we actually ask students to give feedback, to think about ideas that have been suggested, and is there anything else that they would suggest? And so hopefully, even though it's 100% online, that there is a sort of a group learning and understanding. And also there's Zoom sessions where the students can get together and listen to people like Kaye, Valeria and me.
I couldn't agree more, David. As I mentioned previously, I think that was an element of the course I personally found very useful, having the opportunity to dive into different industries, looking at different marketing frameworks being utilized and being creative and critically evaluating it as well has been phenomenal. So thank you very much for sharing that with me and giving our audience and myself a great insight into the industry. And I'd like to obviously spend some time discussing what's to come. I have a very interesting next question I'd like to obviously pass over to the panel. And then obviously there are some trends that we've discussed and shared in Deloitte and PwC industry reports. What are these trends? And in your opinion, do you foresee any challenges and opportunities these trends may present in the digital marketing space in particular, Kaye?
I'll jump in first. I think, tech, it continues to evolve and challenge, and we're continually looking at new tech, and it's constantly evolving how it is. So, the golden word of probably 2022 is definitely the metaverse. We've seen Meta really pumping the change, and some would argue the metaverse has been around and the essence of the metaverse has been around for a long time. But it's how, technology and the availability of technology is changing the way that we think, the way that we sell, the way that we may interact in the future. And I think, digital marketing is moving to a number of different things that tech can play in. One of the presentations today talked about machine learning as your exosuit, your power suit, that, the human plus the technology is leading to a greater outcome. And so one of the things that, digital marketing and what we focus on is the skills to adapt, pivot, evaluate, decide whether it's just trendy or whether it's relevant and purposeful for your brand.
Thank you very much, Kaye, and I'll pass it to you, Valeria.
Yeah, I think that this discussion on consumer empowerment and the rise of the first-party data, I think that is a big challenge, because a lot of digital marketing was built on consumers not having that much or say about their data. And now with that change, that is going to require a lot of creativity on the side of the marketers to reset that ecosystem and the platforms. So that is going to be, and it's already being redesigned. So it's an interesting challenge to think about how this is going to come up in the future. In the near future, we are seeing how it looks, but like within 3 or 5 years, it could be really completely different. And I think it's really hard to predict where this is going. So it's a really interesting area to keep an eye at.
Couldn't agree more, Valeria. I think that's what makes digital marketing such an interesting industry moving forward. And I'll throw it to you, Dr. David. Love to hear your thoughts here.
Oh, no, you would want to hear my thoughts. But I think, because actually I used to work, as you mentioned, in the film industry, but the fragmentation of entertainment and media options, there's different platforms. I've mentioned MySpace, but looking at how things have changed, and even attitudes towards different platforms. Looking at Facebook, how that sort of changed, and looking at Instagram and who's interested, what companies can do, how they can relate and target their particular customer segment using different media and changing media, and also messages that might be suitable for the particular media. The industry's changing. Even listening to people within the industry, they talk about things that have just changed and have evolved over the last few years. They're not sure what's happening, or are surprised when they hear things about what's happening from overseas. And that's one of the, I suppose, also a thing about the course, when we're looking at recent examples and trying to also inspire creativity and ideas, and not only different ways of doing things, but understanding how other companies are doing things that we can then try to do ourselves within our organizations.
Fascinating, David. And I'd like to just build on that as well. You mentioned the point of expanding on creativity from a digital marketing perspective. And if you've obviously been in touch with the news lately, we've seen obviously the importance of things like data ethics and regulation with TikTok, for example, as a platform. Would elements of that be brought into the course as well for students to be able to develop it?
So did you say ethics?
Yeah, sort of like
ethics and marketing.
I'll jump in there, Izard. We have a number of subjects that get the students to really think outside the box. In our emerging technologies, a marketing subject, we're really, thinking beyond today and tomorrow, and maybe what we could do as an organization today and looking into tomorrow. So that creativity comes in there. In our subject about digital platforms, we're looking at, how can we use and leverage platforms, whether we build them, own them, or use third-party ones, and how we can do that and how we can creatively achieve the business outcomes we're looking at. And then we have a subject that's managing digital offerings and innovation, that's looking at all the different tools for us to be able to think about innovation and what we're doing and how we're communicating and how we can be creative within this landscape where there's so many options and technologies. And as we said before, it's about building agility and being able to pivot and use what we don't know is there today. So there's so many things. But in terms of ethics as well, we specifically have a subject, we talk about ethics. In one of the core subjects, digital marketing today, we talk about ethics and highlight ethical things throughout that. We also have a specific subject that looks at data ethics and regulation around that, so that we give the people who are doing these subjects and these courses that skill and that knowledge and that awareness of the world out there. And that's really important, that we are ethical marketers.
Love that, Kaye. Thank you very much for sharing your insights from that perspective in particular. And I guess that leads on really nicely to my final question to the panel. How does the Master of Digital Marketing course really prepare students for this uncertain future? And I'll start with you, David, if I may, and then work my way up to Valeria and Kaye.
It's interesting because I was actually sort of taking notes earlier, but some of the things that I was thinking about with this course, that it helps you to be aware of what's happening in the media world, the media landscape, what's happening in with customers, with competitors, with communities within the economy, and with communications. And it looks at all those sorts of different areas. And it's also updating what's actually happening. And so if you've got a bit of a knowledge about it, it can also help by seeing what are some of the new things that are occurring, what businesses are doing. And there you can also be inspired. Let's see what they've done. And that by learning from what other companies have done and other people's ideas, that you can be a changer And we've seen that also where students have done things in their subjects, which they've actually then brought into the company that they work for.
Fascinating, David. Thank you very much. That's a really interesting insight. Over to you, Valeria.
I think that besides the content, which is very current, there's something that David said before, which is the methodology. So it's about learning. So all the practical assessments, they are, it's real world. In a sense that lots of our students, they do assessments based on their work or what they are working at, their companies or their products, their departments. So I think that helps it like cement their knowledge, and it brings it further as they bring that back to their companies. You learn how to learn and how to apply things, and I think that's a really strong kind of experience that helps you really learn how to learn, and that's what you're going to be needing in the future. Especially again, because things just change so much that it doesn't help if you just learn what it looks like. Now it is like this, tomorrow it's going to be different.
Thank you, Dr. Valeria. That's very interesting to hear your thoughts and opinions there. And I'll pass it on to you, Kaye.
Yeah, I think the Master Digital Marketing, if I summarize what's been said, it's about the knowledge and the skills to be successful in today's marketing roles. And as Valeria just said, and have the skills and knowledge to be able to evaluate and make decisions and pivot in the marketing roles that we will have in 5, 7, 3 years as the world continues to evolve and we see this constant evolution of change. So we see this constant change, and the future, is now. And so we're giving the skills, the knowledge to be able to succeed in that environment.
Excellent, Kaye. Thank you very much for your insights there. I really enjoyed obviously going through some of those questions with you all. And I guess just conscious of time, it's the perfect opportunity to really get into the session that all of the audience have been looking for, and also get involved with putting forward any specific questions you would like our academic team to answer. So thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. We now open the floor to questions. Let's kick off with some FAQs and begin answering the questions that come in the Q&A box. So I have a question here that a student has obviously asked. Really enjoyed this session so far. Does this course have a focus on AI in marketing and marketing technology? I'll pass this on to you, Kaye.
Yeah, we do. We obviously have the graduate certificate has the core subjects, and then we go into the masters. We actually have a subject, emerging technologies and marketing, as mentioned before. And in that subject, we really deep dive into these technologies and, AI, machine learning, and all that's happening in that space is a focus of that. And students get to evaluate and compare the different technologies that are out there and how it could suit their industry or their companies today. So definitely includes and focuses on AI, but as we said earlier, it will pivot and change as the focus of the world we're living in and is changing around us. So emerging technologies may not have AI in it in a few years' time, but it will, because it's here to stay, I believe.
Absolutely. It's a space that's evolving quite fast. Any of the panel like to add to what Kaye just said? Fantastic. Not a problem. We've got some really good questions coming on, so I'll keep it moving here. Do you learn any technical skills in this course by any chance? I guess by technical skills, I think they're talking about more high-level digital strategies like omnichannel marketing strategies, etc.
Yes, the course is built very strategically. So we are building strategic digital marketers. So because the tools that we have today, so if you're thinking about marketing on, say, TikTok or Facebook, or using Google Ads for search or your SEO, is going to constantly evolve. Google is well known for, adapting and changing the way that they select things all the time. And so what we're doing is giving you that higher order skill set that enables you to evaluate and change and understand what's happening. We don't go in and say, we think about SEO in big picture, for instance, but we don't go in and say, this is the A to Z of implementing SEO, because tomorrow Google, etc., could change their algorithm and that would be redundant. So, but what we're doing is saying, this is it. How does it fit in your strategy? Is it the right tool to use in your strategy? And then, you know, giving you the knowledge and skills to go around and look more in depth into specific areas that may be relevant to your brands and your organizational outcomes.
Fantastic, Kaye. Thank you very much for answering that question for us. A student has asked a very relevant question here. They've put forward saying, I don't have any marketing experience, but I am interested in starting a career in digital marketing. Can you move straight into a digital marketing position after completing this course? And what would that look like from an employment perspective for someone who's obviously not worked in the industry previously?
I look at my colleagues and they're looking back at me. Absolutely. I think that the landscape and the career landscape has a variety of different roles and a wide spectrum of levels that you can enter at. You definitely would have the skills and competence to move into more than just a basic role after completing it. You would come in without marketing experience to do start with our grad certificate of marketing and digital strategy, which David and Valeria teach the core subjects in, and then you move into doing some of the Master of Digital Marketing subjects, whether you do the 4 subjects or then transfer across into the Masters. But you're definitely going to have that core knowledge that's going to enable you to apply for positions and to move into roles. Roles are very varied across the spectrum. So, you know, it really depends whether you're looking, you know, I keep talking about client, agency versus and partner. It depends where you're going and what you're doing, what the role would specifically look at. But it would definitely have the skills to be able to do any of those.
Fantastic. David, I'd like to throw it to you. I was just coming to you as well. Go for it.
No, I mean, I agree. And I think, yeah, if you haven't got a marketing background, you'll have me for one of the subjects then if you do the graduate certificate, because we try to ease you in, give you some of the basics about marketing, about consumer behavior, which you then will sort of focus into the digital marketing area with other subjects. One thing that I'd also like to add is it's very much also up to the individual, that we can give you the ideas and the skills, but you've got to then have the confidence to be able to go to an employer and say, yes, I know this, I can do this. And with the course, and we want to give you confidence in being able to do things, but it's up to you. It's like sometimes also with our usual Bachelor of Business. If I do the Bachelor of Business, can I get a management role? Well, it's up to you if you want it. We'll encourage you, we'll help you, we'll give you as much content and skills and encouragement, but you're the one that's going to drive your career, and we can help and guide you, but you're the one that's got to do it.
That's a great answer, and I couldn't agree more. I think, you know, part of acquiring a new skill and developing is a journey in its own right, and obviously, you know, certain individuals will obviously get off to a flying start. But one thing that UTS Online can also support you in this is access to our Careers Hub, where we can obviously work quite closely with you to see how you can position yourself within an industry and the networking opportunities. We've had some fantastic stories with some of our students collaborating, learning together, even starting ventures of their own, which has been really nice to witness. And I guess I've got another question here from a student that is quite right. A student has mentioned that they have been toying with the idea of the Master of Digital Marketing versus the MBA with a specialization in digital marketing. And they wanted to know what, according to you, Kaye, I guess, or even David in this instance, what sort of profile of students should make the respective choice of choosing an MBA with a focus in digital marketing or solely a Master's of Digital Marketing?
How long's a piece of string? I think if I sum it up really briefly, but I could have an in-depth conversation about this. Do you want to be a senior business leader with some knowledge of digital marketing, or do you want to be an in-depth, have an in-depth skill set in digital marketing? So your MBA will give you other subjects like accounting, finance, etc. So it's going to give you that broader, C-suite kind of skill set, but not the depth. If you think about the T person, but the digital marketing, Master Digital Marketing gives you that depth in marketing, and we give you the skills to be able to take that digital marketing into the C-suite in the marketing specialty. So it depends where you're going and what you want to achieve, which one I would think would suit you.
Thank you, Kaye. And David, over to you.
No, that's a good answer. That the MBA is more the traditional route for managers, and often the old MBA used to be for people who didn't have business experience, and they do the accounting and economics and finance and marketing, and then probably some more management subjects, and then have a major or a sub-major in particular areas. And so digital marketing could be one of those areas, but it's not going into the depth. And so it depends, again, it's up to you. If you want to have a more broader management understanding, the MBA, but if you want to focus more on the understanding of digital marketing and where that is going and where that leads you, then the Master of Digital Marketing.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, David and Kaye, for sharing that with us. I've just got another question that has just come in from a student. They've mentioned here, I don't have an experience in digital marketing. I just started a diploma in digital marketing about a month ago, but I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, which was overseas. My question is, what is the best way to match or apply my knowledge as a psychologist in the digital marketing field?
Oh, Valeria, I'm going to throw that one to you because that's right up your alley.
Yeah, I think that it's fantastic that you are a psychologist wanting to work in marketing, because you have the background to understand how people function. And so it is something that is fundamental for marketers today. So it is the heart of marketing, right? To understand people, and basically for the digital part, it's understanding specifically how people navigate in the digital world and what it does to them, what they pay attention to, how they feel during their journeys as customers. And as we talked about before, because of this fragmentation of media and people getting their short attention spans, like it's getting more complicated to get like coherent and integrated experiences. So your knowledge of psychology is really fundamental for doing a really good job in getting the customer experience right. So it is totally applicable. You have a really good foundation, and really translating that now and understanding where the digital world is going, and what that is doing in terms of how we behave online. What am I doing, for 5 hours a day looking at my phone? Like that is a totally online experience that we didn't have, like 15 years ago. And who knows what it's going to look like in 5-10 years. So building that knowledge is also important. So you have the foundation to actually understand and help actually build that knowledge of what people are doing and how they are doing that online, and how as a marketer you can contribute to that kind of experience. So totally related, and in high demand kind of skills for in the market, certainly.
It's fascinating just listening to you. I couldn't agree more. And I'm just conscious of time. I've just got a final question, which I'll throw really quickly. A student has asked, we did speak about the practicality component of the course. And if, for example, whether you were addressing the SME sector or a business idea that they've had, how would they be able to bring this into the assessments in particular, considering there are set frameworks with assignments, etc. Okay, can I throw this?
Yeah, sorry, I just lost you for a little bit, but I'm going to second guess what I missed. So the if you're in an industry now and you're working for an employer and full-time or part-time, the majority of assessments you can take a product or a competitor product, and you can use that and apply it. I'll also cover off it in case that's what I missed. If you aren't working at the moment, one of my things is to say, well, where do you see yourself after you finish this degree? What industry, what sector, what product, what service offering, whatever that you would like to be in, and focusing on that, because there's nothing better than going to the person you want a job with and networking and being able to have the opportunity saying, I've just spent a master's or a grad certificate focusing on your company. I'd really like to have a chat with you and talk about the insights I've had and whether there's any opportunities. And that, you know, for someone in a company, even if they're not recruiting at that point, that's really exciting. That's a conversation that someone rings me up and is saying that when I was, you know, a practitioner, that would be something I'd say, actually, you know, how do we find a role for this person? So you don't have to be working in a company at the moment. If you are, we can really focus and deep dive into that. And as we've mentioned, a lot of students take things from the course, then the assessment, to the boardroom, and implementing live today stuff that they learnt yesterday. But you also don't need to have that. You can focus in on any sector industry that you're interested in. It doesn't need to be that you're working for it at the moment.
Thank you very much, Kaye. That was much appreciated, and thank you for sharing your thoughts. I'd like to first thank the entire audience for taking time to be with us this evening. This sadly means we have to bring our webinar to a close. If you do have any further questions, or if there's something that we may have missed, you're more than welcome to contact our student enrollment team. You can reach us through the details shared on the screen, or simply click on the link that we have shared in the chat box. Schedule a quick 15-minute call at a time that suits you best. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our wonderful academic team for taking time to sit with us, the interested learners, and hope you'll be taking the step to lodge an application to upskill within an ever-changing world within the digital marketing space. On behalf of everybody at UTS, thank you very much. Have a lovely evening, and we'll see you soon. Take care.